Good morning, everyone. This is Royce coming back at you with yet another Let's Try. And today on the docket, we're going to Cracker Barrel. And for what are we heading to Cracker Barrel today? Well, we have ba-ba-da-ba, steak and eggs and steak. That's what you should have for breakfast. Delicious. Steak and eggs and steak. Just making sure you heard. I got it. That's a Family Guy reference. Now, so, Cracker Barrel, no stranger to country cooking. Usually their meat options for the breakfast table are cheaper cuts of meat that have been fried or deep fried or regular fried and salted heavily. So I'm curious to see how their new entrant, this New York strip and eggs, purports to be. Well, I mean, first off, it's kind of a small New York strip, but I mean, for less than $20, what do you expect? But also, it doesn't have a bone on it, which is good for me. I know people say that the bone actually makes it better, but I was so mad when they had a bone in my steak. When they gave me a bone on my steak, like, yeah. Anyway, got my stuff here. I went with hash browns. Now, normally, I've already shown off the hash brown casserole, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to get any of their vegetable options this early in the morning. Other than the tomatoes, which isn't a vegetable, it's a fruit. So you'll have to make do with me highlighting their normal hash browns, which I have not had in many a year. Because as soon as I realized how good the hash brown casserole was, I'm like, why would I order anything else? There was a fresh fruit cup, but it was an extra $3. And I'm like, come on. Oh, I forgot to salt and pepper the eggs too. Oh well. Let's see, we got biscuits and my mom loves blackberry jam. Well, maybe I should save that for her. Anyway, this is my first time ever having a sunny side up egg. Here, let me see if I can. Actually, first let's try a bite of our steak. And then we'll try an egg, and then we'll dip the steak in the yolk, because I think that's what you're supposed to do with this. I'm not a big yolk person, but that's what people usually do with their meat and their eggs. Right. That actually isn't half bad. It does have a bit of a home cooked quality in that it tastes like something my mom would make, which not necessarily a compliment, but also not a criticism either. I ordered it medium rare. Let's see how rare it is. Come on. It's not too bad. That is a good sear, or a good color. I feel like sunny side up eggs are more about the presentation than anything, because like there's no reason to have a sunny side up egg. It just leads to an undercooked white as well as an undercooked yolk. Like I can see the liquidous white on this. And I shall still risk salmonella for you, my lovely viewers. I'm gonna try to eat this in one bite like Sam I Am did in Green Eggs and Ham. It's slimy. Ugh. You know, in Japan, they'll crack an egg on top of their rice, a raw egg on top of their rice, and just eat that. I thought I was first introduced to that concept in an anime film called The Boy and the Beast. Great movie about a boy who gets sent to a mystical world and gets adopted by a warrior who is a beast creature. Anyway, I don't think I can abide by it though personally because uncooked whites are just too slimy. Anyway, we're dipping our steak in the yolk to see how that tastes. Not too bad, actually. Anyway, as I was saying, a sunny side up egg is all about presentation. Like, there's no reason to cook it like that. It just leads to an undercooked white. Just fry your eggs normally. What is your guys' preferred method of frying eggs? Or of preferred method of eggs? Personally, I'm a big fan of a scramble. Like, if we're eschewing stuff like quiches and omelets, then just a normal scrambled egg because it makes the yolk more palatable by mixing it in with the white. Another one I can't stand, well, it's not that I can't stand it, it's just that I think it's a waste, is poached eggs. Like, why do you need to poach an egg? Just boil the egg at that point. That way you don't have to constantly tend to it. Oh, that has me thinking about Shape of Water, how she always made herself boiled eggs for lunch. Eggs were really cheap until well, I've heard that it's a manufactured, what do you call it? Not influx, something like that, though. Inflation. I heard that the eggs getting more expensive is an artificial inflation. I don't know how true that is, but, just so take with a grain of salt. People get really mad at me that I don't show them my plate. And it's like, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to, constantly adjust the camera to be like, oh, here, let me just Oh, no, wait, that's the wrong one. I just be like this, shake the camera around while I do this, and readjust. I'm like, you don't even see the plate because the camera doesn't go down that far. Like, do you want me to eat it like this, where it's like I'm trying to do this? No, let me eat my food. I mean, I don't know. I just get so sick of people complaining about the smallest things. Like, some dude complained about me reviewing a salad, and it's like, at the end of the day, I'm reviewing what I want. Well, I wish I had a different table so I could cut the steak without shaking the camera. Here, let me show you guys something. Look at that crust. That is a gorgeous crust. Here, I'll pause on it a little bit. 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, there. 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, there. Like, this is what I like, a spiced, like a well-spiced steak. Granted, it very clearly is mostly just garlic salt, but it tastes really good. And like, steak dinners are never cheap, but less than 20 bucks is not bad. I mean, heck, you'll be spending that much at a normal restaurant, on a non-chain restaurant, on just normal food, on non-steak. Oh wow, that is a pretty bloody piece in the middle there. What's this blue rareness that I hear about nowadays? Makes me think of how my grandma cooked steak. Basically still raw. More like a steak tartare that's been lightly seared. She likes her steaks bloody. She wants to hear the cow moo. There's a bit of gristle here, but honestly not much for the cut of meat, for like the cut of meat you're expecting. Like, New York strip is a good cut of meat. It's the long side of a T-bone. Come on. Come on. Plastic cutlery was a bad idea, but it's a plastic plate. What do you expect? Like, this is cutlery meant for stuff that, like a tenderized beef steak that's been deep fried in chicken batter. The last piece. And now, I'm going to use the biscuit to soak up all the steak juice that leaked out as I was cutting. That was a good idea. Oh, for people who don't live in the United States, a biscuit to us is a savory scone. well, a kind of savory scone that can be paired with sweet or savory foods. You could butter it and top it with jam, or you could smother it in gravy. I should do that sometime. Have biscuits and gravy, but it's British biscuits and gravy, so it's a really thin gravy over cookies. I wonder why we call potato chips, or why they call potato chips crisps and French fries. Uh, um, Chips. Don't get me wrong, I see the reasoning for both, but it's weird that as communication has advanced, there hasn't been a homogenization of language. If that makes any sense to y'all. Apparently, that's how the Mid-Atlantic accent was first developed. An Australian enunciation coach came up with this sort of universal or like dialect for people to use. So that people can understand you better with like very firm enunciation. And so that's where the Mid-Atlantic accent came from, and it was very popular and like it got taught in schools. Meanwhile, nowadays, everyone just talks the way they talk. But that explains why you have JFK's Mid-Atlantic accent and FDR's Mid-Atlantic accent. Because, like, yeah, JFK has sort of a Bostonian accent, but it also does have sort of that, like, radio announcer timbre to it. A fine dessert to top off our dinner. Well, dinner for me. I got my brother a cast iron skillet for his birthday, which is in a couple of weeks. I gave it to him early because if I leave it in my car or something, I'll forget it. He didn't seem overly enthralled with it though. What do you get for a guy who is a chef but has all his materials already? I don't know. My brother's always been a mystery wrapped in enigma. Anyway, you all have a good one. This is Royce. I'm happy.